Ryan Clark, known to many as a former NFL defensive back and now as a prominent ESPN analyst, recently found himself at the center of a heated controversy that caught a lot of people's attention. What began as a discussion revolving around the ongoing debate between WNBA stars Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese unexpectedly took a deeply personal turn. Clark made some pointed remarks about Robert Griffin III and his wife, Greta Griffin, which quickly sparked backlash. Although Clark later acknowledged that his comments crossed a line, the episode highlighted how sensitive and complex conversations about race, relationships, and sports commentary can become when they touch on personal matters. The incident unfolded during a passionate segment on the Pivot podcast, where Clark responded directly to a claim made by Robert Griffin III. Griffin had stated that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, which Clark challenged head-on. However, his rebuttal didn't just focus on the basketball rival. Instead, Clark linked Griffin's perspective to his interracial marriage, suggesting that this might influence how Griffin understands, or perhaps misunderstands, the lived experiences of black women. These remarks didn't go unnoticed. Griffin reacted strongly, labeling Clark's words as cowardly, spineless, and weak, setting off a wave of intense online discussion. The exchange opened up larger conversations about how public figures discuss sensitive topics and the boundaries that should be maintained when addressing personal and racial dynamics in the media. After the immediate fallout, Clark realized the gravity of his misstep and decided to address the situation head-on with a public apology on his own podcast. He admitted that bringing Greta Griffin into the conversation was a mistake from the start and that it was unfair to involve her in what should have been a discussion focused on sports and social issues. Clark expressed that his original intention was to talk about how having close relationships with black women had helped shape his understanding and approach to discussing issues related to them. But in trying to make his point, he crossed a personal boundary. Clark went further to explain what triggered his initial reaction. He referenced a video that Robert Griffin III had posted, which showed Greta Griffin briefly appearing in the background. Clark interpreted the clip as mocking Angel Reese, and he felt that Greta's presence in the video seemed like a tool used in that mockery. This interpretation upset Clark deeply, but even as he shared these feelings, he recognized that involving Greta in the public dispute was wrong and unfair. He made it clear that no one's family should ever be pulled into the middle of heated public disagreements, no matter how passionate or contentious the issues at hand be. I was out, Clark said with honesty and regret. He stressed the importance of respecting personal boundaries, especially when conversations get heated and emotions run high. Clark also asked listeners and the broader public to refrain from attacking Griffin's family or anyone close to him, emphasizing that debates should remain focused on ideas and opinions rather than personal attacks. Ultimately, Clark wanted to make it clear that his goal was never to diminish or disrespect anyone, but rather to highlight how meaningful relationships with black women have been central to shaping his own views and approach. An important nuance he felt was lost in the heat of the controversy. This whole episode with Ryan Clark and Robert Griffin III really shines a light on how easily sports discussions can spiral into personal territory, especially when issues of race and identity are. It's a reminder that athletes and analysts alike are navigating a tricky balance. On one hand, there's a desire to be outspoken and authentic about social. On the other, there's the risk of crossing lines that affect people on a deeply personal level. Clark's situation shows just how important it is for public figures to be mindful about what they say, especially when families and personal relationships get dragged into the mix. The public reaction to Clark's remarks was swift and intense. Social media was flooded with opinions from all sides, with some people defending Clark's right to express frustration over what he perceived as disrespect towards black women. Others, however, criticized him for making an unnecessary personal attack and for involving Griffin's wife, who had no role in the original debate. This split in public opinion reflects broader tensions in how race and relationships are discussed in sports media, where the lines between professional analysis and personal commentary can sometimes blur, leading to controversy. Clark's apology was crucial in trying to cool down the situation, and it showed a level of accountability that isn't always present in heated public debates. By openly admitting his mistake and asking people to respect Griffin's family, Clark helped steer the conversation back toward a more respectful and constructive dialogue. It also highlighted the human side of sports commentary. These are people with feelings and relationships, not just voices behind microphones. His willingness to reflect and apologize gave the conversation a chance to move forward more thoughtfully. At its core, this incident underscores how relationships, identity, and personal experiences are deeply intertwined with sports and the commentary. For Clark, his his close connections with black women have clearly influenced how he views respect and representation, which is why he felt so strongly about the issue. But it also shows the challenge in communicating those feelings publicly without causing unintended hurt. The incident serves as a lesson for all involved, whether athletes, commentators, or fans, to approach sensitive topics with empathy and care, recognizing the complexity behind every person's perspective. Looking ahead, it's likely that conversations about race, representation, and respect in sports will continue to be complex and sometimes contentious. But moments like this remind us of the importance of accountability and thoughtful dialogue. Clark's experience may serve as a turning point, not just for him, but for others in the sports world, to be more careful in how they engage with these difficult topics. After all, sports don't exist in a vacuum. They reflect society's challenges and triumphs, and the people who live and breathe sports are part of that bigger story.